Hello and welcome to the Isolations video. My name is Emily Webb and I really love this topic because I have a personal goal to continue moving with freedom in my joints as I get into my 80s and my 90s and 100s. I want to be able to move with grace and ease rather than like Frankenstein. And as we work the mobility of our isolations, we're lubricating the joints and we're creating that freedom of movement. So let's go ahead and get started. We'll find ourselves in a comfortable seated position. You can be cross-legged like me. You could also have a pillow underneath your hips, or you could be sitting on a stool. Wherever we are, let's go ahead and just find our rooted base in our hips. Feel them grounding down. And let's feel our spine growing up to the sky. And we're gonna give a little gentle pull up the back of the skull, just elongating the spine, letting the chin tuck down. Good. Relax the hands down. Let's give the shoulders a little roll, releasing any excess tension, and we begin. We're gonna start making circles with the rib cage, and we're just thinking, scraping out the sides of a bowl. Our hands will be on our knees, and as we go back, we're gonna exhale, and as we go forward, we inhale and stretch. The hands are gonna help us as the circles get bigger to help leverage through our spine and body. So we pull the chest forward, use your hands on your knees, and exhale and come around the back. Now you'll notice if your head is relaxed, the neck is relaxed, as you go forward, the head's gonna go up. As you go side, the head will drop to the opposite direction. As we go back, the chin will tuck. We exhale, push all the air out, and inhale all the air. Exhale, inhale, full deep breath. We make the biggest circle we can. And we switch directions, other way. Good. Just loosening up the spine, releasing tension, finding the depth through our breath. One more big circle here, all the way around. Find all the edges of your bowl. And then we begin to wind it back towards center, making the circles smaller and smaller until we come to center. Very nice, y'all. So let's get started with our isolations. We're gonna start in the rib cage, and our hips are stabilized because we're sitting down, which is great. So those are not gonna move, but the shoulders are also not going to move. They'll move through space, but they're just along for the ride of the rib cage. So let's go side to side. Side, 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 side. Good. As we move one way, we have a lengthening and we have a shortening. And then the other way, we lengthen through. So I want you to think about creating space between the hip bone and the lower ribs. It's not about how big you can make it. Right now we're exploring with range of motion. Some people will have more, some people will have less. It's all good. We're just exploring our own range. Good. Shoulders stay relaxed, and notice they're level, just sliding across. Let's come back to center. We go forward and back, forward and back, forward and back, forward and back. For 3, 2, 1, back to center. Very nice. We're gonna go on diagonals. Forward diagonal, back diagonal, forward diagonal, and back. Forward and back. And I feel like I have a string that pulls me this way, and then a string that pulls me in that direction. Boom. 3, 2, and 1, back to center. Opposite diagonals, forward and back. Notice if your shoulders are trying to help. The shoulders are just along for the ride. And feel in your imagination, it's pull and pull. There's a string pulling your rib cage. For 3, 2, and 1, back to center. Very nice. Let's start to work some angles. This is interesting. We're gonna go forward and up, and then back to center. Forward and up, center, just on a diagonal. And again, I think we're just having a little string, pulling and releasing. Pull and release. Other diagonal. Forward and back, forward, back. We go up, lift the rib cage, and release. Lift and release. The release is important, right? If we contract, we always release. We're gonna do the back diagonals. This is an interesting feeling. Back and up. And I'm just thinking that right here, somebody's pulling me from there and pulling me up on the diagonal. Up and back, up and back. These diagonals on angles can really add some interesting movement into our dancing. Other side, forward and back on the diagonal, back and up. Back and up. Notice the shoulders are relaxed. Good. And we go for 3, 2, and 1. Nice. We go side to side, diagonal up, other side, diagonal up, diagonal up, diagonal up. Boom. And again, it's not about size. It's about it being concise and exactly the direction that you were hoping for. Good. We go forward, lift, and back to center. Lift, and back to center. Lift, center, lift, center. Back and up. This one's an interesting one. I don't have as much range of motion here, and that's okay. We do what we've got. We play with what we have. Back and up, back and up. Feeling the motion leading from the rib cage. Good. And 3, 2, and 1. Shake it up. Notice if there's any tension in the shoulders or the jaw. Maybe you stopped breathing. Just shake it out. Good. So now we're going to create some rhythms with this. So when we play with the music, it's like, for me, it's like a joke. Like I hear something and hit in the music, I go hit, hit, and my body goes hit, hit. And it's like I'm playing with the music, and I'm telling my own joke to myself, which I think is great. And I also maybe playing with a partner and telling them the joke, or playing with the people who are watching me. So we're gonna go side, side, hit, hit, and then we're gonna slide back to center. Then we go the other way, hit, hit, slide, hit, hit, center, hit, hit, center, hit, hit, center. One more time, center. We go diagonal, diagonal, center, diagonal, diagonal, center. 1, 2, center, back, back, center. 1, 2, center, 1, 2, center. Other diagonal, forward, forward, center, back, back, center. Forward, forward, center, back, back, center. Now, if that's too fast, we're just gonna do one round super slow. We're gonna do all the directions. So we go side, side, back to center. Other way. Side, side, center. Diagonal, diagonal, center. Back, diagonal. Back, back, center. Diagonal, 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 center. Back, back, center. And we left out forward, forward, and just straight back, back. So go forward, forward, center, back, back, center. Let's do that one again. Forward, forward, center, back, back, center. Nice. There's all kinds of rhythms that you could play with. This is just to get us started. Anything that you can think of is great. For example, I'll do one and then we're gonna move on. We're gonna slide and then we're gonna go hit, 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 slide, hit, 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 slide. Play with it, have fun. Now we're gonna start our circles. So from here, we're gonna go forward and we're gonna scrape out the edges of our bowl with the rib cage. And again, it's much smaller than what we did in the beginning. Just rib cage and the shoulders are relaxed. Good, one more time around. And we switch directions. Feeling in. Is there a place that your rib cage doesn't want to slide smoothly? Is there a spot on the circle that it doesn't want to go to? And we notice that and we just really stretch into those areas, making sure that we're breathing. We're going to switch directions. We go around, forward, and we go back the other way. Around, and back. One way and then the other. Checking in with the shoulders. One more time, and around, and back to center. We lift it up long, we create space in our spine. The more space we're creating, the more mobility we can get. So now let's play with our hits. We're gonna go forward, side, back, side. Forward, side, back, side. Forward, side, back, side. And then we go forward, let's change direction. Side, back, side, forward, side, hit, 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 hit. Let's speed it up. We're gonna go back the original direction. Hit, 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 hit. Getting faster, 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 faster. Ah! Back to center. We go the other way. We're gonna go hit, 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 hit. Getting faster as you are comfortable. Faster, 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 faster. Boom, back to center. Now let's add in the diagonals on the hit. So we're gonna start going this way. We go forward, diagonal, side, back diagonal, back, back diagonal, side, forward diagonal, and forward. Finding all these hits. This is really fun. If you can hit this with the music, you're gonna be hot. So we go hit, 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 hit. Very nice. Again, same direction. Forward, diagonal, side, diagonal, back, diagonal, side, diagonal, forward. If you need to, slow it down. Forward, diagonal, side, diagonal, back, diagonal, side, diagonal, and forward. We go the other direction. Forward, diagonal, side, back, back. That was back diagonal, back diagonal, side, forward diagonal, front. So here we go. Front, diagonal, side, diagonal, back, diagonal, side, diagonal, front. Let's speed it up. Hit, 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 hit. Very good. This is just something to play with for fun, in my personal opinion. Very good. Let's shake it out, making sure that you don't have any excess tension anywhere, that you haven't been holding. Good. And now we're going to come to our shoulders. So we're going to start just lifting those shoulders up and letting them drop down. Lift up and drop down. Nice. We're going to make shoulder circles now, and we're going to go one shoulder at a time. So we're going to take a shoulder up, back, and around, making nice smooth circles, and again noticing if there's any sticky spots or where the shoulder doesn't want to move in its space. So we can switch directions. As we contract on the way up, we release on the way down, and make sure you have a full release of that trapezius muscle. Good, one more time around, and we come back to center. Other side, up and around. And now I think of that same bowl metaphor. The shoulder is scraping out that whipped cream out of a bowl. Good, we reverse directions. As you come up, the trapezius muscle does engage, and as we go down, it releases. Make sure we find that release, finding your breath. Good, and coming back to center. Shake it out. We're gonna take the shoulders, now one up and one down. Yeah, other side up and down. So we're gonna think as much as possible, keeping it just into the shoulders. And the rib cage is gonna try to stay as still as possible. So we go hit, 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 hit. Up and down for 3, 2, and 1. Coming back to center, shake it out. Now we go forward and back, forward and back, forward and back. So again, it's tempting to maybe make this come from the center of the rib cage. That's a different motion. We're gonna work to isolate the shoulders as much as possible. The arms are now along for the ride. So if they move a little bit, that's cool because the shoulder's moving and the arm is attached to the shoulder. But the rib cage is working to stay still. Good. Good. And back to center. Nice. So now let's take, there's infinite number of things you can play with, so you can continue to make up your own exercises. But now we're going to take one shoulder forward, up and over, like we're making little rainbows. So it goes forward and up and over and back. Forward and back. Forward and back. Other side. Forward and back. Forward and back. Forward and back. And maybe we could do those two things together, but in opposite directions. So we're going to come shoulders up. One goes forward, one goes back. Up and back, up and back, up and back, up and back, up and back. Making sure as we go up, there's a contraction and then there's a release. One, one, one. And we can add in the same idea of the musicality with the hits. We can go whum, 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 yeah? We could just go forward and back, 1, 2, 3, or we can add the up and over, up and over. These are things to play with, and I give you a challenge for your homework. Let's make full circles going in opposite directions with the shoulders. So we go up, forward, one goes forward and back, and then we can do the down and around, and then we find it up and down and around. This is your homework, something to play with in your extra spare time. Awesome, so now we're gonna come to standing. Shake out those legs if they've been crossed. Make sure there's plenty of blood flow for when we stand up. Go ahead and move your mats or your stools off the side. All right, let's get ready to rock and roll through the hips now. So we've come to standing, and we're just gonna make circles with the hips. We're gonna work to keep the chest still. And as we go to the back, we're thinking about keeping the back long. So I bring my belly in, and I think about shooting my tailbone down and behind. That way we're lengthening through the lower back rather than crunching. So one more time in this direction. Good. And we go back opposite direction. Finding the freedom of the hips from the rib cage. I'm thinking about lengthening between the lower ribs and the heads of the hip bone, creating space. Good. And one more time. And we come back. Very nice. Now we're going to create angles with the pelvis. So we're going to squeeze through the obliques here and lengthen on the other side, and then we're going to let it go down. Other sides. Here and down. Contract and lengthen, contract and let go. The letting go part is the important one. So as we contract a muscle, it's really important to let it all the way go after you're done using it. So we contract and we let go. So now we can go boom, 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 boom. Keeping that chest relaxed. Very good. Shake it out. Now we're going to begin to make circles. So we're going to circle around this way. And yes, my pelvis is totally moving. All right, let's go ahead and now work the pelvis. So we're gonna start making circles with the pelvis, and we're gonna keep the chest completely still. As I go back, I'm thinking of lengthening out that lower back, tucking the belly in. Good, one more time, and we switch directions. Finding space between the lower ribs and the top of the pelvis. And let's come back to center. Nice work. Let's shake it out. Now we're going to begin some contractions and release. So we contract up and we release down. Contract and release. Contract and release. I like to use my hand on the release. It just helps remind the muscle to completely let go. One more time. We contract and we release. Other side. Contract and release. Keeping that rib cage relaxed and in. We contract and release. Yes, there is some weight in my foot, but the action is coming from the hip, as if there's a string pulling that hip bone up, and then we release it down. One more time. and release. Very good. So now we're going to make circles with the hip going around this way. We go forward and back, forward and back. I realize this hip bone is also moving because the pelvis is one piece, but I'm thinking as if I'm drawing a circle with the opposite hip bone. Draw the circle. One more time. Draw the circle. Now we change directions. Back and forward. Back and forward. Back and forward. Good. Let's go to the other side. Forward and around. Forward and around. Draw that circle. We're just opening up mobility within the pelvis. Good. Let's switch directions. Back and around. Getting some brain connection to our pelvis. Back and around, back and around. Great, now let's combine these two circles. We're gonna make figure eights, back and forth. So we go forward and around, forward and around, forward and around, forward and around. And remember, it's not about size, it's about control for myself, right? We're gonna think about keeping the rib cage as still as possible and releasing the pelvis, releasing the muscles in between the rib cage and the pelvis. We switch directions. We go back and around, back and around, back and around, back and around. Going as slow as you need to go in order to create a solid movement. And eventually we begin to smooth it out. One more time, around and around. Good. Now we're gonna make circles on this plane. So we're gonna find a standing leg and we pick that hip up and around. Circle up and around. Up and around, up and around. Again, we're going to keep the rib cage as still as possible. Let's switch the direction. Down and around. Woo! Up and around. Good. Good. Other side. Circles. Up and down. Up and down. Up and down. Keeping the motion as much as possible centered right on that hip bone. And noticing the difference between the two sides. We go down and around, down and up, down and up, lengthen and contract, up and around, down and up, down and up. Nice. And now let's just play with our figure eights on this plane. We go up and over, up and over, up and over, up and over. Contract and release, contract and release. Up and over, up and over, up and over, up and over. Now we're gonna go down and under, down and under, down and under. Good. And then the circle on this side, we release, and then we contract, up and over. Down and under, up, down and under, up. We see if we can smooth it out. Whoop. And under. Good. And shake it out. Woo, I'm starting to feel a little more loose in the hip, and that's a good thing. So now, how can we play with this like when we're moving? For example, these up and overs is a great way to stylize through your walk. Up and over, up and over, up and over, up and over. We can also go down and under, down and under, down and under, down and under. So let's go up and over, down and under, up and over, up and over, down and under, down and under. Again, up and over, up and over, down and under, down and under. So notice that the hips are what are leading the motion. So as we go up and over, the hip did the work, obliques contracted, and then the spine is along for the ride. The spine rolls like a wave. Down and under, the spine waves. Down and under, the spine waves. And I think it's like a little bit like seaweed going through the ocean waves. So let's look at what happens if we start with the rib cage movement. So we're gonna slide the ribs, and then we're gonna extend the leg just to catch, that's our step. So we slide, and let's come back. Slide, and come back. One more time, slide and come back. And now we're going to take the step. So we slide here, and the hips wave underneath the shoulders. Slide and back, slide and back. One more time, slide and back. And then we take the step and the hips wave underneath. Let's check in with the shoulders for a second. They have nothing to do with any of this action. They're just along for the ride. And so as the rib cage slides, the shoulders are going to be even, and then we come back. Step, back, step. Hips are waving underneath the rib cage. Good. So let's go for fun. Let's go rib cage, and then hip, hip, up and over, down and under, down and under. So we go rib cage, up and over, hip, down and under, down and under. Again, ribs, ribs, hip, hip, down and under, down and under. And this is a great way to make all your side steps feel so juicy, especially when you have a really long beat that you need to take a side step on. It's like, ooh, I'm gonna milk this beat for all it's worth. And it feels so good. Very good. So now let's talk about how we can create some more hits in the music. So we can do that with our hips. For example, we had the circular motion. An easy way to do that is going to be going the same way we did the rib cage. We go hit, 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 hit. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4. Other direction. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now 1, 2, 3, 4. We could also bounce it around. Hit, 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 hit. So it's forward, diagonal, side, back diagonal, back, back diagonal, side, forward diagonal, forward, diagonal, side, diagonal, back, diagonal, side, diagonal, forward. Let's go the other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And again, I encourage you to play with this. The rhythm is coming from the music, not from my counts. So whatever feels good to you is going to be great. We could also do something like hit, 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 right? Hit, 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 hit. So let's now put this into the freezes of our music. So if we're grooving along, maybe we get our little spinal wave action coming, and then the music breaks. So now we have an opportunity to tell a musical joke. And I'm going to choose one body part, hips, ribs, or shoulders, to create my little joke. You choose your body part. So here we are, we're frozen, and maybe it's the shoulders. Boom, boom, boom. And then we relax. We move again. Music freezes. Now we're going to choose a different body part. Maybe it's hips. So we go boom, boom, boom. Yeah, and then we come back. The music is moving me. Let's try your last body part. Maybe it's ribs. We come in, and from here, boom, boom, boom. We just play. Boom, boom, boom. And then we go back. Remember, whenever we turn something on, we use the muscles to create the isolation, and then we come back to a space of relaxation. And relax. Relax. And then we move on. So this is something I encourage you to play with, have fun, put some music on after the video, and just groove out a little bit. Find those hits, find those musical jokes. All right, we got one last important thing to do today, and that's going to be body rolls. So we're going to take the motions that we've been using and now put them together to roll through the body. So here we are. If we start back as if we were kind of about to sit in a chair, we find that relaxation of the hip joint. We're going to lift the hip up and over. Like we had that motion before. We go up and over and then back down. I'm doing it kind of on the diagonal. Back down. Now we're going to go up and over and feel how the rib cage is back. So then we allow the rib cage to come up over that hip. So let's start again. Hip goes up and over and the rib cage follows. Reset, hip and ribs. Good, let's shake it out on the other side. Again, and take as much time as you need to find these motions. Hip goes up and over, and now hip and the rib cage follows. And we come back down. You can use your hands to help. Hip, rib cage. Here we go. Hip and rib cage. One more time. Hip and rib cage. Now let's go the opposite direction. The rib cage is forward. We're going to take it up and over, diagonal, and then drop the hip down underneath it. So we start again. Rib cage forward, up and over, drop the hip down. Up and over, drop the hip down. Other side. Rib starts forward, up and on the diagonal, up and over, hip drops down. Up and over, hip drops down. Up and over, hip drops down. Now let's put them two together. Hip, rib cage, hip. Hip, ribs, ribs, hip. Hip, ribs, and ribs, hip. Other side. Here we go. Hip, ribs, ribs, hip. Hip, ribs, ribs, hit. And you notice I kind of like to put a hit at the end so that it makes it smooth and then sharp. And then back down, smooth, sharp. It's just a way to add some texture to the movement, but of course we can go all smooth, or for more advanced folks or something to play with, we can start to hit on the way up. So we can go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Boom, 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 boom. That's just something to play with. I highly recommend doing all these things in front of the mirror so you can check yourself out. If you don't have a mirror, take video of yourself and see what you look like, experiment and play, and get that mobility of the joints going, and tell lots of musical jokes on the dance floor. Thank you so much for being here. Let's do a quick little stretch out, and then we'll wind up for the day. So we're gonna take our palms to our thighs and push the thighs back. Extend the head long, and we're tractioning out in the lower back here. And just release the hands down. Let's bend the knees and reach forward, sending the hands out front and the hips back. Relax the head, yes and no. And on your exhale, let's roll it on up. Head is the last thing to come up. And we squeeze the shoulders up and roll them back and release them down. Squeeze up and back and release them down. Excellent work. We want to notice if we build excess tension in our body and make sure at the end of any practice that we stretch and release that tension. Thank you so much for being here. Again, my name's Emily Webb. I love to hear your comments, so leave them below, and your feedback too, and your questions. I would love to know what you think. Have a wonderful day, and keep those joints loose.